guys, this is Paranoid, and today I wanted to go over how to build a strong general. It seems to me that there are many high VIP players or players that coin a lot and still have relatively weak generals, and maybe it's because they spend the resources on the wrong things or they just don't know how to build a strong general. So I'll take one of my generals as an example just to show you. Scipio, and he is a ground general. And let's go over all the things that you need to do to make a strong general. So I'll start from the bottom left. The enhance, this is upgrading your star level of the general. You want to get it to 5 stars. Each level costs a few million gold, and your general needs to be level 22 so you can get the 5 stars, and it increases your stats basically. And the next thing you want to do is cultivate your general. You can see it at the bottom left as well. You cultivate it, and you can cultivate it with gold, as you can see on the bottom right, but it's at a certain point, it's really hard to get any bonus substats with gold cultivation. That's just how the game works. The gems cultivation gives you better results than the gold cultivation. And after you get to about plus 100 or plus 200, it becomes almost impossible to get any further using gold cultivation, and you need to use the gems cultivation. Specifically, you need to use the button in the middle which says cultivate times 10. And personally, I just use the gems cultivation because it's a lot quicker. It saves me time and the results are much better. And I don't save too many gems by using the gold cultivation. I might save like 10,000 gems or something, but it's not worth the effort for me. And I want you to take a look at the cultivation. The maximum value you can get is plus 500. You can go over it, but if you try to cultivate it again, it will go down. So you can go over plus 500, but the next time you cultivate it, it won't go any higher. It can only remove it. So if I cultivate right now, my defense will probably go down and my leadership will probably go down. So you want to aim to have close to plus 500 on all your substats, and you can see what these stats give you. So leadership, the main thing you have in leadership is troop HP and march speed. The important thing here is troop HP, obviously. I have plus 188% because my leadership total is 1,390. And troop attack plus 188%. Troop defense plus 203 from defense. And the politics, the nice thing in politics is troop death to wounded. And for some generals, it might be the resource gathering speed. If you have your Quinjin Deox, it might be the bonus to resource gathering speed and the troop death to wounded. So those are the stats that you gain from cultivation. You want these things are the things that you want to spend gems on. Don't bother spending gems on like black market items or buying scrolls. Or this is the basics of the game. You need to have your general cultivated to the max and have his level maxed as well. Otherwise, you're just weak. You can't compete with anyone. You can barely kill monsters. So make sure you cultivate it all the way to plus 500. And by the way, the experience, you have it in the middle. Mine is maxed at 82.5 million. And you can use experience books. Usually you level up a general by having him attack an unoccupied subcity while with siege machine. So go ahead and look that up if you don't know how to level up your general. And you can also use him in battlefield, either directly by attacking with him or by putting him on one of your subcities and then attacking and defending. He'll gain experience. So those are some of the ways to level them up real quick. The next thing we have is skills. And here are basically the skill books you choose. Ground general is going to have the ground troop speed, the ground troop defense, and the ground troop HP. Because it's a ground general, his main function, his primary function is to act like a tank. So you're going to focus on buffing his HP and his defense and not his attack, even though attack is also important. These are the skill books you want to put on him. And as far as setting skill books, there's also many guides to it. But basically, you start by putting the level 1 skill books that you want and making sure that all the level 1 skill books are set. And then you put the level 4 skill books of the same attribute, of the same bonus. But go ahead and look it up if you don't know how to do it. And then there's the specialty. So these are the specialities, and each general has different specialities. And if we click on it, it's down on the bottom right. Then you can see its specialty has 5 levels that you need to complete. Each level gives you a certain amount of bonus. First level, one to attack and HP. The second one to attack and HP, and so on. And the last level usually gives you the most. And they cost gems, and they cost ruin stones. And this is a bit more expensive to achieve. You need ruin stones, and those are really hard to get except by coining and getting packs. And you need the gems themselves. And for your primary generals, you also need this maxed. So for your primary ranged PvP general, ground, siege, mounted, and even your wall general, you're going to want to max these. It's extremely hard. I'm VIP 16, and I think I only maxed one, and this is the second one that I'm trying to finish all my specialties. So it's really hard. The hard thing about this is getting enough ruin stones to upgrade all the specialities. So just take a look here. My first specialty I have in the middle, you can see I have 35.5 thousand ruin stones. So this specialty was easy to complete all the levels. On my second and third, on my second one, I have 17,300 ruin stones. And on the third one, I have 18,400 ruin stones. So the ruin stones for the second and third specialities are half of what I have on the first. So it's harder to get these ruin stones. The first specialty, it's easiest to get ruin stones for these. And the last one, look at this, I have 2,900 ruin stones. So if I would open a box of 100 ruin stones, I would get almost half of them on the first ruin stone type. I would get about 48 ruin stones of this type, and I would get about 18 of this type, and 24, about 24 rune stones of the second specialty type and 24 of the third, and I would get only about 4 rune stones of this type of the fourth. And it's one of the most important ones, and one of the hardest to get, because you're opening 100 ruin stone boxes and you're only getting 4 of these. So this last specialty is really hard to complete, and it usually gives the best bonuses. As you can see, plus 10% to ground troop HP and defense on the last level, and the level before this plus 5%. So it gives huge bonuses. The catch here is that in order to even start upgrading the 4th level, you need to complete the first 3. So you would need to complete this one, all 5 levels in the first specialty, all 5 levels in the second, all 5 levels in the third, and then you could start upgrading your 4th. And even when the option is available for you to start upgrading your 4th, you're probably not going to have enough ruin stones to complete it, as it's very expensive. But that's the ultimate goal. You want to unlock all your specialities. So the first one gives 10% attack and HP. The second one gives march size capacity and ground troop attack. Third one, it gives nice bonuses, attack, HP, and defense. And the fourth one gives the best bonus, plus 16%, plus 16%. And I'm not even finished, so it's supposed to give plus 26 at the end, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, plus 26 to HP and defense. So invest your gems and your money on upgrading the specialities. And you also have something called lucky stones. You can see the green stones here that I have are luck stones. You don't get a lot of them. Let me move this out of the way. You don't get a lot of them. You get them if you attack another player, and you both sides lose more than 35 million power. So it's for more advanced players, for bigger players. And what they give you is the possibility to use some of them and get double experience from using your ruin stones. So if I would go here and use 80 ruin stones to get 80,000 points, but I have my double experience. So as soon as I click learn here, instead of getting 80,000 points, I would get 160,000 points. And these lucky stones are really important because they allow you to level up faster. And it's really important for the fourth specialty because you don't have enough ruin stones. So just save these up. Don't use them. You probably won't have many of them anyways, but if you do, just save them and use them on the fourth specialty. And the next thing you want to do is, I want to talk about is the items, refining items. So for each type of general, you want to focus on refining the item for that type of general. You don't want to mix it up. The only exception to this is the wild general. The wild general will probably have bonuses to different type of troops. The other generals are only going to have bonuses to their type of troop. A ground general is only going to have bonuses to ground. So for attack, you're only going to have on your sword and your gloves or ring, you're only going to have bonuses to your ground attack. And on your helmet, you're only going to have bonuses to ground HP. So let's just take a look at the helmet, for instance. View, and you have two options at the bottom, upgrade star and refine. Upgrade star is upgrading the star level, which gives you the static green bonuses, increases them, and you're going to upgrade that all the way to the max. It's going to cost probably like 15 million gold. And the next thing you want to do is refine, and there's tutorials how to refine and what bonuses you can get on each item. But the thing is, each time you refine here, you can see it's going to cost me 300 gems, 300 refining stones, and 1.5 million gold. And I'm going to have to click it probably several times until I get a value that's high enough in ground troop HP. So I might have to click it 20 times. That's going to cost me 6,000 refining stones and 30 million gold just to get one value. And as soon as I click it 20 times and I'm okay with the value I get, I would lock it in. I press the lock, I lock it in, and then I would repeat the process again until I get another value I like, and I would lock that one in as well. But you can see now that I locked one value in, the next time each time I click refine, it's going to cost me 4,000 gems. And if I click it 20 times, I'm going to be spending 80,000 gems. Nonetheless, this is one of the most important things that you can do in the game and for your generals. So you would do it 20 times and you would lock in the next value that you like. And the next time you click refine, it's going to cost 6,000 gems per roll. The refining stones are still going to cost 300 each time, but the refine is going to be more expensive. And you would have to do this maybe another 20 or 30 times. So you're going to lose another or spend another 200,000 gems and click the next value you like. So you have to calculate how many gems you can afford to spend, how much gold do you have, and how many refining stones you have, because you can spend maybe 20,000 refining stones on getting good refines, and you can spend 100,000 refining stones. Depends how much you want. HP bonuses are really important for ground generals, so you want to focus more on getting good values on your troop HP buff. Getting high rolls on the ground troop attack is less important. You want to focus on HP. Even defense, which is also important for tanks, but is not as important as HP. HP is almost twice as important as the defense and the attack. So make sure you get your best results on the ground troop HP. And the refines can be expensive. Like I said, it's all a function of how many refining stones you have, how much gold you have, but it's mostly a function of how many refining stones you have and how many you can afford to spend on each item. If you have 6 items and you only have 100,000 refining stones, then you're going to want to settle for lower values. Maybe 20% is going to be good enough for you. But if you're a big spender, then go ahead and roll until you get values that are over 27% and 28%. I got pretty lucky on this one, but I probably spent a lot of my resources on this. Yeah. On Just wanted to quickly talk about uh, the mounted general, and I'll just use an example from one of our players here. General ranking, uh, mounted general. So most people at the start of the game build a mounted general for killing monsters. As you can see here, she maxed all her specialities and so on. If you're building a mounted general specifically for killing monsters, you don't need to worry too much about mounted troop HP, mounted troop defense, and you just want to focus on the bonuses to mounted troop attack. When you have a mounted general that's supposed to kill monsters, the way you do it is you get enough horses and enough mounted troops and enough mounted troop attack bonus to one-shot the monsters. That way you don't take any wounded. If you're taking wounded when killing monsters, it's bad long term because it's not sustainable. You don't want to attack every time and lose troops or get wounded troops. So what people aim to do is just get a high enough bonus to attack that you don't need to do it. So theoretically, this is a very strong general, and if she's strong enough, then you don't even need to have some of these items. Okay, this item gives mounted troop attack plus 22%, but the refines here, you might be okay without any refines at all. You can use an item without any refines because he's still gonna one-shot the monster, and if you're one-shotting one of the bosses, let's say Golem 3 or Golem 4, then it doesn't matter how much defense and HP you have, because all it matters is the mounted troop attack. And I don't want to take anything away from this general, because this item, the plant engine helmet, it's gonna be really good when the player here decides to put it on a mounted PvP general, because this is a top tier item, and it's gonna be really good later in the game. You can still use it, but for beginners, I'm talking specifically for beginners. If you're building a general to kill monsters, and you have a limited amount of resources. Most of us have a limited amount of resources. Even if you're VIP 16 and 17, you have a limited amount of resources, a limited amount of refining stones and gems. So for a boss monster hunter, focus on mounted troop attack, which is the weapon and the gloves down here, and get those values high. The other values are less important, and this goes as well for a ranged attacking general. The ranged attacking general, let me see here, an Electra. Let's take one of the Electras here. So let's take my Electra for example. You want to focus on the ranged troop attack, because that's what matters with the ranged general. You want to just attack and kill as much as possible. If you have a little bit more HP or a little bit less HP, it doesn't really matter. If you're not going to kill the enemy, you're going to die. It doesn't matter if you have another 50% HP or 50% less HP or more HP. You're not going to tank anything. So the important thing on range general is to get the high values for the range troop attack. So spend more refining stones and gems on that, and worry less about getting the range troop HP and range troop defense. And also the discussion between flat values and percentage based values. I'm just going to say right off the bat, percentage based values are better for almost every situation. So the flat bonuses are almost insignificant. I probably settled for a flat bonus here because it's troop defense and I didn't want to spend any more refines on it. So I said instead of refining it another 20 times, let's see if I go here and refine it another 20 times and spend maybe 200,000 gems and 10,000 refining stones, I just said troop defense doesn't matter that much, so I'm not going to spend any more resources on it. But it's a lot less effective than the percentage base. The only exception to using flat values is on your wall general, and that's assuming that you have hundreds and millions or hundreds or tens of millions of low tier level troops. But for attacking generals, any PvP general and almost any attacking general, you're mostly gonna focus on the high tier troops, T12, 13, and 14, and the percentage based bonus is much better there. So on every refine, just focus on the percentage base. And like I said, make sure all your values are for range troop for that type of general. So if I'm building a range general, I'm gonna make sure all the values are for the range troop defense or the range troop attack. Don't mix it. Don't give it siege attack or ground, because it's not gonna help you. The range general is gonna have 3 million range troops, and it might have like 5,000 ground troops. So ground bonuses are just gonna be wasted completely. But I can understand if you don't have enough resources, you can only lock in two values and you don't have enough resources to lock in the other two, that's fine. But in my opinion, get one item, get a good item, like finish it, get all the correct bonuses, and then move on to the next item. Don't get items that have like only range troop attack once and then ground and siege and mount. Just get the correct item right away. And like I said, as far as spending gems and resources on the right thing, some people like to upgrade their subsidy. So let's take a look at my subsidy. If I want to upgrade it from legendary to epic, it's going to cost me 2.5 million gems, and I'm going to get a bonus for my attacking, my war tactics. I'm going to get a bonus attack, which is going to go up from 8% to 10%. So I'm going to get another 2% bonus to attack, and I'm going to get some other small bonuses like subsidy training speed from 15 to 20 and city gold production speed, which is these are virtually insignificant. So I'm not sure if there's even any point to mention it, but it's going to cost me 2.5 million gems to get another 2% bonus to attack. And I can use the same 2.5 million gems to fully cultivate my general to get 188% troop HP, attack, and defense. And I can refine several items all the way to the max. And I can upgrade my specialities probably all the way to the max on all four of them for the price of 2 million gems. So the 2.5 million gems is going to get me 2% attack if I upgrade my subsidy, or it's going to give me hundreds of percentage bonus to my general. So just make sure you have your priorities straight. You need a strong general, and you need to cultivate it and spend the gems on this. What generals do you build first? Players usually build a mounted general first. I remind you that if you're starting, focus on the mounted attack. The mounted HP and defense is less relevant, but later in the game, you'll want the HP and defense as well. Just for attacking monsters, focus on mounted troop attack. And the next general you usually get is the ranged general, because he is good for PvP, especially for beginners, especially because most of the starting players are going to have mounted troops, so they can kill monsters, and the ranged general is gonna be very good at killing mounted troops. So usually the first general you get is a mounted one, the second one you get is a ranged general, which can kill mounted troops, and the third one is usually a ground general, which can kill the ranged general. So that's usually your progression. In my opinion, the siege and the wall general are one of the last generals, just because it's very hard to defend in this game. I'm at 600 million power or 594 million power, and I don't have a wall general yet. I don't want to spend my resources building a wall general, and if I did, I probably still couldn't defend. Someone could probably still come and solo march me and zero me with one hit. So I don't want to spend a lot of resources building a wall general when I know I can't defend. I'd rather ghost my troops and focus on my PvP generals for now. And that's it for right now. I will add another short video here to show you examples of really strong generals. Okay guys, I'm on server 825, and I wanted to show you guys examples of what might be considered the perfect generals or the ideal general. And we'll take a look at Take0919. He's probably the strongest player on Continent 4 and one of the strongest players in the games, one of the biggest coiners. And let's take a look at his general. My impression was that he built really good generals, and he knows how to build generals, so he built them correctly. So the range general, you can see the bow has all the range troop attack bonuses, and they're all very high. And the armor, Plantagenet armor, again, only range troop defense. And the Freedom Hero boots. Notice that he doesn't have the entire set of Plantagenet gear. He has 2 items from it, and then he has 2 items from the Freedom set, which is going to be the boots and the pants. And then he has the Hein Dynasty helmet because it gives a bonus to march and range troop attack. So many people do it because some of the sets, some of the items aren't good. Not all the items from the Plantagenet set are good for range troop. So some of the items might be better suited for a mounted troop. So he took the right items from each set to build a really good range troop general. And just note he even has a 30% roll. That's really nice. So just notice the items he took and the rolls he has on everything. So just perfect rolls and perfect items. Obviously the general is maxed and all the specialities are maxed, and you want to make sure you have the range troop bonus range 100 to range attack. This is just so you don't want the enemy archers to hit your archers first. You want them to have the same range value. So this is very important to any range general. Range troop, range bonus. And you usually have range troop attack and range troop HP, and that's what he has. So a perfect general. And let's take a look at his Elise. Elise, or the ground general, it can be CPO Elise, is probably the only general that you have the entire full set of the same type, the foreign Kazan, and you have all of these items are basically good for a grounds general. You don't need to mix and match from different item sets. And again, all the bonuses to ground troop attack, ground troop HP, and so on. This is how you refine items. Don't don't try to do don't try to have refines as good as he has, because you can't afford it. This guy is a 16 billion player. He's probably VIP 22. He probably spent around $100,000 on the game, so he can afford to get these refines up there. But most players, just budget yourself if maybe you want to settle for 20% and so on. And ground troop attack, ground troop defense, and ground troop HP. I like to have the ground troop speed here and not the ground troop attack, but I've seen many players not use the ground troop speed for the attacking ground general. And his wall general, a very good wall general here. And like I said before, the only general that you're not going to have all the bonuses for that type of general is going to be your wall general. Ground is only going to have ground bonuses. Range is going to have range bonuses. Your wall general might have a mix of bonuses. The mix of bonuses you usually have on your range general is bonuses to siege and range attack, and bonuses to mounted troop and ground troop HP, because mounted troop and ground troop HP might be doing most of your tanking, and the siege and the range might be doing most of your killing, your attacking. So that's how you want to refine your items. And he has ground troop attack and siege machine attack. So I think siege machine attack might be a little bit better, but he might know something I don't know because he's a very good player, obviously. And ground troop defense, mounted troop defense on the armor, mounted and ground defense again, mounted HP, and mounted and ground HP. That's exactly what it should be. And siege attack here. So you have he put siege attack and ground attack. He didn't put range attack. So maybe I'm missing something. Maybe the range attack usually don't get in range. Maybe the ground will always attack before the range. I don't know. That's how he did it. I know the siege attack is always important. And the siege machine range, you want this on your siege general and on your wall general. You always want to have it, just because, like I said, you don't want your enemies attacking. You don't want the enemy siege machine attacking your defenses before you can attack them. So you must have this, and you must have this item, which gives you the bonus to siege machine attack range. But building a strong wall general like this is something you do really late in the game when you're 1 billion power or 2 billion power. It's really hard to get a strong enough defense to defend when you're small. So when I see a 300 million player or a 500 million player, I'm pretty sure I can zero him with one attack. And I've seen players that are 800 million or 1 billion that still get zeroed with one attack. So you might be wasting your resources and still not be able to defend. So these are his generals, and he has a mounted general. Obviously, he's going to have the mounted troop attack on these items and the mounted troop HP. And he even here he mixed. You see, he put the plant engine helmet, which is the best available helmet for mounted troops, and he put it on his mounted general. So yeah, you mix and match some of the civilization gear. You lose the set bonuses for getting the entire 6 out of 6 items, but it's a good trade-off because just the mounted helmet is going to give you enough bonuses to mount a troop defense and HP, making it worthwhile not to have the complete set, but to mix and match items from different sets that suit your general. So he used 2 plant tangent items here, the boots and the helmet, Han Dynasty Hailbird, leg and weapon, and armor, and he used a freedom star amulet or ring here. And look at the bonuses: 29.9 plus 30 plus 28.8. So getting an item like this, probably just this item alone is probably going to cost him like 2 or 3 million gems and maybe, I don't know, 150,000 refining stones. Just ridiculous amount of refining stones and gems to get to these values. Don't try to get to these values. If you have 5% less on each substat, it's still a really good item. So yeah, just budget yourself. And he's a really good player, this guy, Take0919, one of the strongest players in the games, and he's going up really fast. He's growing. Every time I check him, he's like a billion stronger. He's growing every day, and he still has a long way to go to reach the levels of Rhythm of Sir Philip, the legendary Sir Philip. But he's slowly getting there. I don't know if he will ever get there because those guys are really veterans and they've been coining for a long time, and they've been coining before the double down coupons and the 50,000% value packages. They've been coining when packages were 20,000 return value and no double down coupons. So he has it pretty easy relatively to what they had it. They when they bought packages, they were getting like a quarter of the value that he's getting now when he's coining. But still a really strong player, and just by judging from his generals, he understands the game pretty well.